Hello and welcome to Frozen Frontiers. I've got a video here going over the highlights and the lowlights of driving from Utah to Alaska. I saw, a lot of wildlife, a lot of road, a lot of pavement, a lot of asphalt, a lot of grass, a lot of mountains, and ate a lot of food, spent a lot of money in gas, and had few interesting things happened to me on the way up here. We'll go over those a little bit later, but here we go. Let's start our journey. So we start from Layton, Utah. As you can see, here is the route that I will be taking. I stop first in Lethbridge, then try and make it up to Evansburg, followed by Fort Nelson, then Whitehorse, and last but not least, Willow, Alaska. Let's take a look here and see where our video starts. So we start along the road, headed up I-15, up through Pocatello, Idaho Falls, Du Bois, Butte, and right now this video is starting right around Dillon. I didn't take any video before then. It's my apology if any of you guys are a little bit bent about that. I'm sorry. As you can see, this stretch of the road is rather bland. There's some mountains out in the distance, some road in front of me, and some tread to burn. So we will just continue on this path until we reach Canada. My little boy got all tired and decided to sleep underneath the blanket. Most of the trip he did this actually, and he was really cute and really good during this trip. Every now and again he'd come out, meow at me a few times, and ask for some food and water. But he was a great companion to have along. It is most definitely worth noting that the route that I am going along is tailored to towing very heavy loads and wanting to avoid the steepest parts of the drive up to Alaska. So if you find yourself carrying a very heavy load and don't want to go up a ton of slopes, I believe that this may be the closest to the best route to take, at least from my location and from what I was able to find online. Isn't he just the cutest cat you have ever seen? You may be asking yourself, me oh my, it looks like the scenery has changed. Well, you are right, we have made it to Canada. This is driving through Calgary. This is after I stopped for my first night. I'm gonna be honest with you, after that first night stop in Lethbridge, I had a moment to myself of thinking, well, I have a lot of driving left to do, and I kind of don't really want to do it. But perseverance. Perseverance is key. I got going, got into the swing of things, and, well, don't mind me, citizens. I've merely taken a wrong road. One moment and I will be out of your city. There we go, much better. Back on the road. Let's get this done. After heading through Calgary, I made the strategic decision to cut out Edmonton from my drive. I was planning on going through Edmonton as it is a lot more flat route, but going through the backcountries up through Evansburg is a shorter route, cut about an hour off of the trip. The next stop on our route here is Pink Mountain. Pink Mountain is before Fort Nelson and before Muncho Lake. Pink Mountain is right here. One thing to note about Pink Mountain is you may be turned off by the gas prices here, but be sure to fill up here, otherwise for the next 175 miles, there's not a very good place to gas up that is not much more expensive. Oh no! I met this guy with the boat at Pink Mountain. He was a fellow lower 48er headed up to Alaska to go on a boating trip. Apparently along part of the stretch, his boat shifted a bit and bent one of the bars holding it up, which is now rubbing up against the frame of his boat. I really hope that he made it through Destruction Bay area. That bay area is rough, as you'll see a little bit later in the video. Oh no! Well, as you can see, I made it to Fort Nelson. Unfortunately, one of my trailer tires didn't. I am not sure how long I was driving on it like this. I pulled into a gas station to get some gas, filled up the oil, got all my other fluids checked, and one of the guys, as I was about to pull out, was like, hey there, bud, you know that one of your tires there's blown out there, right? And I was like, well, it would appear that it is. Luckily, Fort Nelson has quite a few tire shops. They were able to get me fixed up pretty quick. I was only out about 45 minutes to an hour. And now we will start our descent into the Muncho Lake area. Skipping a little bit of time going out of Fort Nelson. You've already seen a lot of the same scenery. So, without further ado, my favorite part of the drive. Just a little added commentary while you enjoy the scenery. This drive is gorgeous. So the stretch from Fort Nelson to Whitehorse is about 600 miles. That converts to right around about 1,000 kilometers. You may see a couple signs that say Whitehorse on them. You can kind of get a gauge on how far away I am from there. In this stretch of road, I started counting the amount of black bears that I saw, and stopped counting at around 15. There are so many black bears out here. I can't even... It's incredible. Incredible. There's also a lot of buffalo, too. These mountains, I tell you what. The mountains, the trail, the trees, all of it just lends itself to such a spectacular driving experience. This whole drive, all 50 to 60 hours of it, is worth it because of just this stretch right here. We are now on approach to Muncho Lake. This lake is so beautiful. This whole place is crazy cool. Just crazy cool. And it's all frozen this time. You notice anything funny about this car? We're in Canada. One thing that is very interesting about Muncho Lake is the community that resides here. There is a lodge that I'll pass here in a moment that has a red roof that has I believe that there's like rooms that you can stay in inside. But the part that's more interesting is that it is run by an Amish German community. It's really cool, and these people are insanely respectful. They also make incredible food. So if you're ever on the way by, be sure to stop in, grab some food, and enjoy the company. Well, back on the road, I will skip forward a little bit pretty soon to just jump to the Destruction Bay area. I think that you guys might enjoy some of these. It's a really, really rough road. As I drive along here, I will just explain, a little bit of the mechanics on why these roads end up to be so bad. Well, there's a couple points to be made about that. A, these are some very, very remote roads. As you can tell by the amount of people and cars driving by, there's really not that many people out here. Another point is that this is the only road that goes up to Alaska from Canada. It's called the Great Alaskan Highway, and it is very, very long. I entered this highway 1,000 miles ago at this point. The actual reason that the roads don't stay nice after they are redone which, by the way, last year when I drove through here, they were redoing entire stretches of this road. But the reason that they break so often is because during the winter it gets so cold that the ground freezes, and when anything freezes or changes temperature in a drastic manner, it will contract and expand. When that happens, it will take out entire sections of the road. You'll have ruts in the road where there was just this little line of clay that goes underneath the road at some point that it expanded, moved everything out of the way, and then contracted, or the opposite way, depending on which way clay goes when it freezes or heats up. And when that happens, it bubbles the road up and then buckles it down. And that just absolutely destroys the road. It wreaks havoc on it. They have to go back and replace the roads every few years, I'm sure. And I can't even imagine how many people have driven through here and just absolutely busted up their car or their loads just driving on this stretch of road. At the end of this stretch of road, it is the Canadian border. Well, Canadian and US border. So you'll see me drive through that. I did not get caught trying to cross the border, eh? But I was very, very glad to be back in the US. The road after the border it's better. It's not the best, but it is better. There's definitely been an initiative to clean up that part of the road and make it nicer. There's good stretches, there's bad stretches. I did have to stop at one point, and I will jump to that here in a moment, because I had just gone through hours of just being thrown around inside my truck and having to be diligent on where I'm looking at the road to make sure that I'm not just destroying all of my equipment that I'm bringing with me. So you may or may not be able to see it, but this road is called Senior Citizen Drive.
Yo, guys. So, it's snowing. I had stopped for the night last night because the road was just getting on my nerves, and I'd been bumped around all day, so stopped here and rested for a while. Long while. It was pretty nice. It's pretty chilly out. It's snowing. But yeah, here's my setup, just in case anybody was wondering what it's like. So I've got my excavator back here with, a couple other things. Pellet stove, chair, fireplace. Then in the back here I've got some solar panels. It's 1,000 pounds of solar panels, some gas cans, some extra stuff. And in case you were wondering how I'm sleeping so well, in here, back here, I've got a bunch of pillows stacked up, and then blankets on top. Don't mind the extra clothes. Yeah, then Mr. Kitten just goes right inside of here. He's in there somewhere. Yeah, can't see him, but he just climbs in. Anyway, it's cold, so I'm gonna start the truck, get on the move.
The next stretch of road I will show you is really the last point at which there's really anything new for me to show you guys. So we drove from the border up on through to Tok, from Tok all the way down through Gakona, Glen Allen, and then we come to a place called Glacier View. This drive-through here, you're driving through two pretty tall mountains, as you can see on the south and on the north up there. And so you're going through basically a canyon most of this drive, and there's an actual glacier that is running down into the river that follows this canyon down. It's really, really pretty, so enjoy the views. So I'll leave you with a little bit of commentary. I am very, very happy to be back up here in Alaska. This is a couple days after I arrived, so I've already had a little bit of a chance to settle in, get myself situated, and just absolutely enjoy the time that I've got up here. The trip, all in all, was not all that bad other than the first night when I was, feeling a little bit intimidated by the amount of distance I still had to travel. But all in all, it was a good drive. Not really that many problems. The truck did fantastically. I did go through a little bit of oil as there's a slight oil leak. But other than the blown out tire, there was really no complications with the trip. I believe that I spent around $1,300 to $1,400 in gas for the whole trip. I'll have to total that up and add it to one of my videos in the future. But now that I'm here, I'm getting set up and all my solar is out and ready to go. That's coming up in a new video. No damage to any of the solar panels, no damage to any of the equipment that I brought with me at all, actually. The only damage happened after I got here. I ran over a quart of oil with my truck backing out because it had fallen off and I hadn't noticed it go underneath my tire. So, had to get that cleaned up. But now that I'm situated, there'll be a lot more videos on their way soon. I appreciate you guys following along. For everybody that jumped on the lives, I appreciate the encouragement. It's always good to see people jump in and give me, somebody to talk to while I'm on this kind of a drive. It's quite a bit of a, I wouldn't call it a slog, but definitely a journey to get all the way through that type of drive. Having said that, I had driven from Virginia to Utah about 2 or 3 weeks before this trip, so in less than a month I drove all the way across the entire country, basically. The only other option would have been to drive from Florida to Utah, but everybody knows I'm not going to Florida. So, you Floridians can enjoy your weather down there, you can enjoy the climate down there, but as for me, I choose not to. Anyway, thank you guys all for joining. Thank you for the encouragement, for the well wishes, and I appreciate every single one of you. Wherever you are, have yourself a good time.